Imagine you live in a world where every action, interaction, and movement is rated, and each citizen has a score. Certain actions could either increase or lower your score. In this world, a higher rating would definitely open the way for great opportunities and benefits, but a lower one could cut you off from the rest of society. Well, to some this might sound like a Black Mirror's episode, but this world isn't that far off from reality. In fact, it's already here. Sharing economy services like Airbnb or delivery services all have some kind of scoring system that evaluates those that participate in the service. In this episode, we will deep dive into what social scoring systems are, their potential benefits and flaws, and how they play out in different cultures. Our guest is Marco Preuss, Director of the European Research and Analysis Team at Kaspersky Lab. Let's start.
Welcome, Marco.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Hello, Marco. Good to have you.
Carla. Hello, Carla. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Luis.
Very good, very good. Well, these days are cold, huh?
Very cold. Winter is here.
How is it there, Marco?
We have snow outside.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Nice.
Yesterday, 1st of December, we got snow, like exactly the perfect time.
I'm kind of jealous because I love snow with sun, though, because sometimes in Luxembourg it snows, but it's dark, and then it's a bit depressive. Yeah, but with sun it's beautiful.
Yeah, let's hope that the snow comes here too.
Well, yeah, let's hope. But anyway, it's very cold outside. So I will give you a little bit of background on how this topic came and conquered TikTok. We had the cybersecurity days. It was the end of October, and I attended one of the webinars on social scoring. And although I had heard about the topic, and Carla was there too, if I remember well.
Yes.
The way, the angle it developed, it was very, very interesting. And we thought we need to invite Marco to tell us more about this topic. So let's get started with the first question. It's a typical what question, and it's what is social scoring?
Okay, so basically social scoring is to measure people, especially in social groups or as individuals, in order to gain certain knowledge about them. In most cases, it's to determine how trustworthy a person is, for example. So really the core is to measure a person in order to get some specific information about that person.
So in a way, it's a way to categorize people?
Yes, exactly.
And what kind of information? You mentioned that to get some information from people.
So basically it can be anything. Like the theory nowadays is basically the more data you get, the more detailed the picture is about that specific person. So the more information from all different kinds of behavior about a specific person you get, the more detailed and more exact is then the outcome from your rating system. So for example, if you know a lot about the personal habits, the job, the social environment, the spendings of a person, you get a way better picture on how trustworthy a person is in for the financial area, for example. Like, can you give that person a credit, for example, or is it maybe a bad behavior? Then it's maybe not a good idea to give that person a credit. Just to give a basic example.
Mm-hmm.
So Marco, yes, the good guys are grading people or characterizing people for marketing reasons, probably business development reasons, or maybe for accessing loans and these kind of things. But is there any way, and I can already imagine some, to use this scoring, like, for any other political reasons, or political, or war, or you know
Of course, I mean, you basically can use such systems for a lot of different intentions areas. I mean, in the political area, it's used as well to, um, if you know that the interest, the political direction of certain social groups, you know better how to address them. So, as I said before, it's a lot about measuring and getting very specific data about a person, and based on that, you can either build a certain relation with that person, or you know how to categorize it and put it in the correct area. So it's not only on the financial. I mean, financial is always the most basic example, because it's very easy to understand, especially about loans. But this also extends to, for example, insurances. But we have nowadays way more areas where such social rating is used than just these basic examples, of course.
So people grading people, or organizations grading people, isn't something new. Can you tell us a bit about the evolution? Because, well, how was it before the digital everything, and how it is now?
So, of course, that's such kind of social rating or social scoring is not new. There are methods which were also used in the past, based on very simple things. For example, your clothes you were wearing. They showed the social group you belong to, or your language, your expression. And all of that help the people to understand and know your value.
Mm-hmm.
And this then basically, like, these ideas about taking certain information and put it like in a rating, which was basically then developed further and further and further. And nowadays, especially because of the information age we're in, we have all and even more data than expected, which can be used in such rating systems. The difference is, in the past, such ratings were done more or less manual. So you see a person, you interact with a person, and you see their rating based on their, as I said, for example, clothes. Nowadays, of course, it's not a manual thing anymore, and not a specific area, but it's autonomous systems basically doing that. So a black box, data comes in, the black box does something, and then the output is a certain value, a certain rating about a specific person.
So it's, can I have a question?
Me too.
Okay, no, go ahead.
Thank you. What are the dangers of social scoring? I mean, what are the downsides of it?
So there are many different, I would say, negative aspects about that. First of all, most of these systems are not transparent to the people. So you don't know which systems where, based on what information you rated on, and also how it's processed. So you have no transparency. Basically, you rely on that. In most cases, it's even not your choice, because a service provider like your financial institute, your insurance, and so on, are using such kind of tools, so you have no control about it. It's not transparent to you, and that's a huge problem because you don't know which data and also the outcome in most cases, so how you're rated, and then why certain things are happening, why you don't get this credit, for example, why you don't get this insurance, or why is that insurance that expensive. So the transparency is a huge point here, and also this black box approach. On the other side, the problem is that because of all of these systems are, it's basically algorithms used to do this rating. And the problem is, of course, they're using their mathematical aspects based on the data, but persons may change, for example. So the rating may be theoretically accurate for a certain specific time, but they're used way longer, even though you changed your behavior or your network and so on. And of course, there is this risk about kind of false positives, you may say, so that persons may be rated wrongly because either the data was not correct or the algorithm is not correct, which is of course very logical because the algorithm is created by humans. And so there is a chance for errors in this algorithm, in this processing, and therefore the rating is wrong. And this rating has a huge impact or may have a huge impact on your life. I mean, if you get a credit, for example, let's stick to this example because it's easy, as I said before. If you want to get a credit, a loan to buy a house, for example, and your rating says, oh, you're not able to get this loan because of XYZ, this has a huge impact on your life. You don't get your house. So your plans for the future may be completely changed and destroyed.
But if there is a mistake, a flaw, and this is spotted, is there a way to rectify it? For instance, in the example you just gave, how could someone, okay, you've got a bad score for a loan, how can you prove that that's not true? Is there a way?
That's a very good question.
And that's exactly the problem, because it's not transparent, as I said before. It's very hard to understand that where the mistake was. And also because you don't know anything about the data which was used, you don't know anything about the algorithm. How would you as an individual be even able to prove or even try to prove that this rating is wrong? You, of course, you're an individual, but thinking a bit bigger, you're a citizen of a country where maybe millions of people are. You're part of the world with many, many other people. So you're just one small number, one small person. How do you think you're able to go into that direction to question these huge systems where you have no control and no information about whatsoever?
Exactly. And maybe it might be tangentially related to the matter today, but I read recently that sometimes when it comes to these neural networks, these are very complex artificial intelligence systems, scientists don't even know how they talk and how they come up with answers, because it's such a complex thing that we are already at human level far from understanding the way they actually work. And that is very, very dangerous and also scary.
Yes, it reminds me, I actually remember that you, Marco, mentioned this during the webinar, the episode from Black Mirror about social scoring. And it's pretty scary indeed. And actually it was the last episode Black Mirror that I watched because I said I can't deal with this anymore.
I don't want to
Scary.
watch it because I think it will depress. I will get into a very serious depression.
That's a very tough episode.
Yeah.
But it was, the reason why I also put this in my talk and mention it, because it's really, of course, it's adding a bit more, and it's of course way beyond what we have in reality nowadays. But I think the core and how it's shown is quite nicely done, because it's really easy to follow and to understand the impact of such scoring systems. Because as I said before, we already have them. We have them all around us. It's everywhere. The financial and insurance industry are just a few examples, but this also happens while you do shopping, online shopping, for example. This happens in your social networks, healthcare. So there are so many different areas where this is used. So this episode really basically brought it together into the physical world of that person, to really showcase the importance of that rating systems, which are from our perspective completely hidden.
Exactly. And do you think, also I always refer to what I read recently, but Tim Berners-Lee, he invented the internet, and I think last week he launched like a plan or a strategy to kind of get back to the user the power to control the internet, and I guess it has a lot to do with privacy. So after all, this social scoring has been like boosted by the internet. Is this an internet's downside?
Well,
Tough question.
I wouldn't say downside, because the internet is just it's a technology, and it's up to us to decide how we use a certain technology. That's for many technologies. You can use many different technologies, either for the good or the bad, or something in between. So I wouldn't say per se this is the fault of the evil internet or whatever, because that's simply not true. The internet is a very nice technology, which was developed, and I think this really helps humanity itself. And I also I said before a lot of examples of the downsides, like the negative side of such rating systems. On the other side, of course, I do get why certain entities use such tools. And I wouldn't per se say that the use of them is not good. Because there is a reason behind that. The question here is, to what scale should they be able to be used, like these rating systems, and also the question about the transparency, about the privacy of the people, about the data ownership, about the processing. There are many questions on this, and I think that's the direction we should go more. It's not about saying, oh, this technology is bad, let's ban it or whatever. It's more about, these are all technologies. Let's sit together, let's think this through and discuss how we should use it. How should it be not used? How can we enable the people to be in control of their data, about their ratings, to really be to have these technologies transparent. I think that's the important point here, the empowerment of the people.
Exactly. I think people aren't so much aware about what's happening when they interact on social media and the internet. So what's really happening? Can you tell us how do you think we could solve this issue in your view?
I think that's exactly the point here, that many people simply are not aware. And this is also logical. I mean, if you just think about how old these technologies are, they're just here for a very short period of time. So you have a very mixed group of people using these technologies. You have the elderly people, which were not born and raised by using the internet. Then you have the people who were like teenagers and really adapted it very fast, computers, internet, and everything. And then also more and more the younger generations. So here's already the question about how these people are able to understand and cope with the base technology of computers, internet, and so on. And then, of course, the next step, different groups of them have different ideas, experience, knowledge about the terms of privacy. Younger people nowadays not always really seem to take privacy into consideration, which you can easily observe how they use social networks. On the other side, we have more elder generations who are more on the side of taking privacy serious and really fighting for it. Just a few examples. So the group of people using that is very, very mixed, and bringing them all together is very difficult at that.
Yes, I think you mentioned the age factor, and I was thinking of the cultural factor as well. I remember during your presentation, you mentioned like a major difference between what Asian countries feel about this matter and what the Occident, particularly Europe, with the GDPR and other protection laws that protect privacy, the difference between the two. So we are very much influenced by this apparent protection. Could you elaborate on that? Because I think it's a very interesting difference.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I knew you would bring this up, so I didn't mention it before. Because of course, also the aspect of different social groups in terms of different culture background has a huge impact on that. So this, of course, is first seen as how aware are people of social rating, social scoring systems, which is interesting in the Asian Pacific area, way higher than in most of the European and Western countries. And this already starts like all of that. If you're not aware of such systems, then of course, how could you do something about it? Or how can we go into a discussion about that? And then, of course, you have a different historic. Certain countries, like in core Asia, even though they're developing very huge scoring systems, they have a very long history about using different kind of ratings on social groups and individuals from the past. They even had some influences many decades ago on their political level, on their overall nationwide social groups, basically how things were distributed, the influences about certain powers and goods and everything like that. So for them, it's more or less kind of a development, just a next step, and putting former physical rating structures into the digital age. So it's probably more natural. While in other countries, if you're not aware of that, or you're more interested into privacy, then this topic is of course perceived completely different. For example, in Germany is known to be more focused on privacy, or let's say Central European countries, compared to other countries where the term privacy is already understood in a completely different way.
Yes. Maybe to say something on this, because in summer a friend of mine, or a friend of mine from China, came to visit us, and I asked him, directly the question, because for these things I am very straightforward, and I said, how do you feel about what the government is doing? And he replied something like really struck me, but it was a very smart answer. He said, you know what, culturally we have been under this system and understanding the government as a father, that for us this is just okay. And well, I didn't know what to say, because if you tell me, for you the government who is ruling is a role model and a father, how can I fight that? I can't.
Yeah, actually, I've watched a documentary once about the social scoring system in China, and it was shocking for me because it's more advanced. It's somewhat closer to the Black Mirror image, and I was shocked, and I wonder how this would play out in Europe. I don't think people would accept it.
Well, let me just step in here.
Yes, please.
So first of all, I mean, you named a country. To be honest, it's not just one country in the world, or the only country in the world with such a system. But I think here the important factor is the culture again, because they perceive themselves and their social groups completely different than we in the Western world, for example, or in other continents of the world. So I think this plays a huge role here, and I wouldn't say, oh, that's bad or whatever, because in their region it may work well, and probably it is what people want to have, because their social interactions are completely different to what we have. So judging that if it's good or bad is, from this outsider perspective, what we have, very difficult. So I personally don't go into that direction. But to be honest, we have very like a lot of such rating systems already for a long time. In Germany, for example, we have certain of such rating systems, for example, in the financial industry, and they have a huge impact about your life, and they're taking more and more data over the years in their development stages to be able to have a way better picture about you. But it's more hidden. It's a background. You're not a customer, and you don't even see really the rating and the impact of that, because it's like a service company to other bigger companies. In China, for example, it's way more there. Like the people know about it because they see the impact, they see the rating. It's more natural for them because it's present. Other systems are hidden, and I think that's also a very dangerous point.
Absolutely.
That's true. Well, I didn't mean to judge. I don't think it's bad or good, but for me, as a Westerner, it's a bit shocking. But I think you have a very good point that at least they are aware about it and they are transparent. And whereas here, there are a lot of things maybe that we don't know about.
Yeah, well, definitely our questions, we address the questions from with our Western eyes, but also because most of our audience is Western, I mean, lives in the Western part of the world. So not that I think it is important because we all ask the same questions, and when we discuss among friends, to be very honest, this topic always and always arises. So we don't want to be politically incorrect. We just want to be honest and honest, and address things that matter to all of us in every part of the world. That's the beauty of diversity. Has a different way to see life. But I myself, I want to stay the way I am. I can tell you.
Okay.
What do you think, Carla?
I agree.
Yeah.
My next question actually is, so how can we make this more transparent? Is it people should become more interested and more aware and fight this, or is it the systems themselves that need to understand that they need to be transparent?
Well, I wouldn't always put the term fight in. I think the most fundamental and important point is raising the awareness. And I think transparency here is key to that. Whether it's from the owners of such systems or the users of such systems, or maybe even one step further, having more clearer regulation in place to really have this transparency and engaging people and informing people and explaining so that the awareness level raises. And I think that's the first and most fundamental point here. And then later on, we can also discuss again with this topic of regulation to have these discussions in the society about whether certain things are okay or not okay, and then put policies in place.
This might be a controversial question, but isn't it the case that some companies might not want to make their systems transparent?
Possible. I cannot answer for the companies, of course.
Of course.
But it's possible, but I'm not sure it's if such as like. I don't think it's their decision. It's the decision in the market is not taken by each individual company, because when we're talking about using data, the data ownership is not with this specific company, for example. So it's tricky. It's tricky, and as I said, we should go more into awareness, information, transparency. To really are all on the same page.
And speaking of awareness, is there something that we can do in terms of security to be less scored, or is it unavoidable?
No, it's not completely unavoidable, to be honest, because when you are aware of such systems and how they work, you're better able to cope with that and put this into your behavior, because the more data you share, for example, in social networks, the more checkboxes with I agree to whatever you click, the more data is collected, and they, in many cases, directly go into such systems. Which rate you, which makes you transparent.
It's nice that you mentioned that, Marco, because when you search for information, anyone searching for information on the internet, and you get these window asking you for your cookies permission or GDPR consent, and you know what, you say okay yes to everything, because what you really want is information. I mean, to be very honest, I have really gone through the list of cookies and all this, I think 5 times since the GDPR was enforced. But it also, they also made it a bit hard sometimes with so many words and so many things that you say, you know what, let's go ahead. They are, looking at me everywhere from every single angle. That okay, I just need the information. Isn't it true? Does it happen to you too?
I know what you mean, but to be honest, I don't like the user experience, to be honest, and if I see that some of these systems are implemented in a very bad way, like which really kills the user experience, I even just don't go to that website, to be honest, because information nowadays is usually not only on one platform but on many. And I really do this additional step in checking where I give my consent to or not. It's sometimes it bothers me, to be honest. It's not very easy because it's implemented in so many different ways on so many different platforms. But I think it is important, and I hope that this gets more standardized and maybe more easy in future. Let's hope. But I think, yeah, that's a huge pain. But I really don't like to always press this consent, agree, whatever, which is like always the strongest color and the biggest button, and all the other stuff. You have sometimes really look for, okay, where are these settings where I can really change something, and then save the settings which I just did and not accidentally press again, accept all. Yeah, for me it's natural because I really try to be more aware of that and behave like that, but I can imagine that probably many people don't really do that.
Exactly, and some may not even understand what exactly GDPR is. I mean,
Yes.
to be honest.
Yes, that's a very important point.
Well, I do you have any other question, Carla? No. I think this topic is to go and go. It's
On and on.
unstoppable. On and on. Exactly. I couldn't say that. Probably with a glass of nice wine, because it can, the debate around this is endless. But we really thank you for your participation, your presence, your opinions, your points of view. They are very, very valuable. I'm sorry. And I don't know if you want to add something before ending the episode.
Yeah, as the last word, I would like to add something. Even though we discussed it, and I think it was a quite critical discussion. We drawed some negative points and positive points, but I think there is a huge opportunity also for the economy if someone or many are able to really create more transparent system in that way, which benefits all people or all peers involved in that. I think this would be a nice spot which is not filled at the moment.
Yeah. So,
Let's hope for that.
No, it's good. So social scoring can absolutely have a positive side and impact positively different aspects of life, if I understood correctly, which is something desirable. Yes, but we always will have, like the yin and yang, the good and the bad, the black and the white, none of them is bad. But I'm saying, the opposite side's always fighting. It's all about power.
But transparency is
Transparency.
key. That's my takeaway as well.
The transparency is key. So really, thanks a lot, and thanks,
Thank you.
Carla, also for being here, and have a super nice day. And until the next one.
And enjoy the snow.
Oh yes.
Thanks.
Ciao, ciao.
Thanks. Bye.
We've reached the end of our episode, the last one of 2020. This has been a challenging year for everyone, so we want to thank you for sticking with us. We wish you and your families a happy holiday season and a healthy 2021, and see you next year.